The Kudzukian Network presents Grindset, inside the mind of successful entrepreneurs with your host, Cynthia Daniels and Olivia Brack.
I think sometimes we overplan things and that can kind of cause a delay or setback. But I would definitely say dive in, get your name started, get your website up, get your business cards.
But you're going to learn from a lot of amazing people what kind of pitfalls that they have, the challenges, but what really made them successful, what made them keep going.
Grindset.
Welcome back to another episode of Grindset, powered by the Kudzukian Network. I'm your host, Cynthia Daniels, Chief Event Strategist of Cynthia Daniels and Company.
And I'm your co-host, Olivia Brack, Commercial Lender at First Tennessee Bank.
And today's guest is actually right here with me. We have Olivia Bursey Ward in the studio.
Good afternoon. How are you?
We are good. And you are the owner and lead designer of Studio 1524. You do all things luxurious in the city of Memphis.
Absolutely.
So she has an amazing story, guys. Olivia's going to talk about her corporate background, where she actually had a career in biology for how many years?
Oh, my gosh. Several years.
Several years.
Several years. It's been that long.
She's been that long, but she left that life for a journey into entrepreneurship, and we're going to learn a lot from you today. So I'm super excited and ready to get started.
Glad to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. We're excited to share the experience.
So stay tuned. We'll be right back with Olivia Bursey Ward right here on Grindset.
Grindset on the Kudzukian Network.
Jazz, America's own original musical art form. When did it start? Who were and are some of the major players? How do you distinguish what kind of jazz you're listening to? We talk about the great and lesser-known artists, songs and tunes, the instruments, and the social impact jazz has had on world culture since its beginning at the start of the 20th century.
Riffin' on jazz on the Kudzukian Network. Kudzukian Grindset.
Welcome back to Grindset. We are so excited to have Olivia Bursey Ward in the studio with us today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored and grateful.
Welcome.
And I tell you, our listeners are in store for such a huge treat, because not only are you one of the leading event designers in Memphis, really in the country, you also have this amazing corporate track that I think a lot of our listeners will be able to relate to. And I kind of think of today's topic as, it's never too late to change careers. And I think you're really going to inspire a lot of women today.
Absolutely.
And men, inspire me, please.
And men, yes. So we're going to jump right into it. Tell us a little bit about your company, Studio 1524, and what exactly do you do?
I am a floral and event designer here in Memphis. My company started exactly about 10 years ago.
Wow.
In the city of Memphis, in Midtown. My address was 1524 Madison Avenue. The concept started there, and we started building our company. Basically, we're just doing floral and event design. And when we say floral, we were doing floral work for weddings, corporate events, just a variety of things here in the city. Not only in the city, but outside the city as well. From that point, we start designing your event from the beginning to end. And that means conceptually putting the design together and just putting it out there for our clients.
At what point did you start designing the actual events in addition to the floral and design?
We actually started about 2 years after we just started doing flowers, because we saw a need for that.
Okay.
The client needed more things, and they wanted a true vision of their event, be it a wedding or bridal shower, baby showers, birthday parties, corporate events. And so once we start putting those designs, we call it the blueprint.
I love that, the blueprint.
The event,
okay.
Then that's when our company really started to evolve.
So tell us, how exactly did your company get started? Because you come from this corporate background. We touched on it in the opening, and we're going to really dig into that. But how did you begin?
Well, I saw a need for the floral and event design, and I love everything luxury, and I love flowers.
Okay.
So, however, when we started, I would say back 10 years ago, roughly, we started here in the city of Midtown, Memphis. And just kind of give you a little cliche how we started with 1524.
I love to hear it.
That was my address, 1524 Madison Avenue.
Oh, near Minglewood Hall.
Then Minglewood Hall.
Wow.
We went to a conference called Engage. Engage is a luxury event planning company.
Okay.
Once there, the concept was pretty much solid. I kind of had the ideal prior to going that, but after attending that conference, it was confirmation. So once I got back to home base here in Memphis, we started developing our concept, our principles, our baseline, and we start actually advertising Studio 1524 Floral and Event Design to our clients. And the way we did it, back then, we went to different shows trying to promote our company.
Okay.
And once we completed that, then the word got on and the rest is history.
Okay. And if you can think back, number one, congratulations on 10 years, but
Thank
think
you.
back to that first client. I mean, did you wake up one day and said, okay, I love flowers. Like, I want to be able to do flowers for other people. Take us back to that moment.
Wow.
Good question.
I should say it starts back even further than that. When
Okay,
we
take us
first
back.
Started actually doing corporate life. We love everything luxury and nice.
Okay.
And so actually our company, just kind of give you a little bit of history.
Yeah.
We started with catering. That was our foundation.
Okay.
We started with catering back in 1998, just doing very small parties for friends.
And this is while you're working a corporate job.
While I was working the corporate job.
Okay.
So when we were working 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, Saturday and Sunday, we were starting our other business. And as most people do, you work.
I can relate.
All day long.
Yeah.
And you start back over again. So we started that. Very successful. It was called Delectables Catering Company.
Okay.
As we are still the owner of Delectables Catering Company as we are today. That was our foundation and it still is. But as we grew the company, we saw the need to branch out a little bit.
Okay.
And we branched out. We decided to go in the flower to business
Okay.
and the designing. And so that's how it all started back in 1998 till we started doing it full time in 2003.
I'd love to hear, how did you juggle, again, I know the schedule, right? Monday through
Absolutely.
Friday, corporate, weekends is your clients, but how do you maintain and juggle that
Oh my
balance?
gosh, to be honest, it was a struggle.
Okay.
Because you have to manage the corporate life Monday through Friday.
Right.
And along with meet and greet still new clients and along with attaining new clients. And then because your weekend work is Friday and Saturday. So actually every day I was meeting myself from Saturday and then switching gears back to corporate life Monday through Friday.
Oh my gosh.
But however we did it,
Yeah.
we made it work.
Yeah, you definitely made it work. You're listening to Grindset, powered by the Kudzukian Network, and we're here with Olivia Bursey Ward. And you're talking about the transition of your business. You started off in catering, then you offered floral and design, now you're offering rentals. So how did you even know that need was there?
You know, after starting out in those areas, as you just spoke about, meeting with clients, I would hear them say, well, let me switch over and go. I need to have another meeting to go with a rental company. Well, let me go and see this event planner, or let me go and see this planner. So at that point, I just start kind of researching and understanding, hey, I can provide those services for you.
Yeah.
So that's when we start doing the rental section.
So
and
I think that's
providing those areas.
I think that's a major killer. Listen to your customers, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
I was just writing that down.
If they're
Absolutely.
speaking about things you know you have the capability, then that's an existing business opportunity.
Absolutely. And clients want to come to you in confidence, knowing that you can provide those services. You are capable of doing those services. And then by the work that you've done, and basically when you do that, they appreciate that as well.
So the clients not try to corner you and say, hey, you do my catering. What do you know about flowers? Or you do my flowers and catering. What do you know about rentals, right? We want to go to a company that's doing it for 40 years, right? So how did you break into so I can also do this?
So basically, you have to buy your work, first of all, and providing those services. Currently, we're at a 16,000 square foot design center.
Woo.
Which in
Major.
fact, we have a design center up front in part of our office that have all those entities for you. So when a client walk in,
Yep.
they are brightly and they are not overwhelmed. They're like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I didn't know you did this. Now that you do this, wow, you can do my rentals, you can do my linens, you can do just about anything that we need. And we sell them on the experience. When you walk in my office, it is an experience.
So for the uninitiated, what's a design studio, right? If I'm the customer walking in and say, hey, I want to throw an event, it's a wedding, right? How do you engage me?
I am engaging you on all different levels. The first level is we're going to talk about what's your vision.
Okay.
How can we create that vision for you and what's important for you on that day? And along with that, we're going to add all the entities from the rentals, including tables, chairs, and linen, luxury linens,
Right.
luxury chairs, things that we know that will be a significant impact to your wedding or to your event or whatever you might have.
Now, I heard you say luxury a few times. What does that even mean?
Luxury means those things that, and one of the things that we say luxury is the higher end items that we can provide here in Memphis. We travel a lot. We travel to New York and LA and Miami, and we visit a lot of the other cities. So we know what's out there. I am a magazine junkie. So when I travel, I pick up magazines from every location. So I see what's out there. I know what's out there. And we are so excited to bring many of the things that you see back to Memphis.
I'm loving everything that you're saying because Memphis is so pigeonholed. People feel that, well, Memphis is behind a few years. They don't have X, Y, and Z. But you have to present to people that if you build it, they will come.
Absolutely.
You're offering luxury. You're going to other markets, bringing it to Memphis, and people find you and seek you for that. So I think that's important for our listeners out there to know that just because you don't see it in Memphis doesn't mean that it won't flourish here.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things we pride ourselves in, making sure that if you're not able to do everything, we want to make part of what we do very signature.
Right.
And we always say we want to create your signature style.
Yeah.
However it might be, luxury or designing or catering. We want to provide those services for you.
Yeah. And you say signature. What are some of the events that you've done in the past to give people an example of some of the work that you do?
When Tanger recently opened up several years ago, we were there opening.
Wait, Tanger Outlet?
Tanger Outlet.
Are you kidding me?
Tanger Outlet in South Haven, Mississippi.
Wow.
So we did their grand opening for the whole entire weekend, along with working with, as recently, Facebook that was here for the Memphis in May Barbecue Fest.
Ooh.
That's impressive.
And last year, the inaugural dinner and block.
Oh, that was you.
So that was us.
Wow.
So we're very grateful.
You're a big deal.
Well, I want to say that we're at the right place at the right time.
Hello. I like that. I'm going to use it.
Absolutely.
Well, look, as many accolades as you have, Olivia, I would love to really get down to the nitty gritty. And, we're listening to Grindset, powered by the Kudzukian Network. So we really want to bring it very honest and transparent to our listeners. Let's talk about some of the challenges that come along with this luxury brand that you're creating for your consumers.
Challenges, knowing, I would say the first thing is knowing your client and knowing the right type of client.
Okay.
And that has been a challenge. Mm-hmm. How do we go out and brand ourselves? Well, we have several different areas. First is we want to make sure our brand is there. If we say we're luxury, we have social media, and our social media is either Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and we're very real with our clients and knowing what they're able to afford, and we want to make sure what we share with them and the experience is something that will last a lifetime for them.
Okay, and so if a client comes to you and they don't have the right budget, and maybe this is taking it back to the beginning of your business, how do you articulate to them that, you know what, this budget doesn't match what my company needs? Because sometimes you just want the money as an entrepreneur. So how do you differentiate that?
Absolutely.
Question.
We know that there are some clients that perhaps might be in a different budget range for us. However, we will work with them because sometimes there might be something that might be significant to them.
Okay.
And we'll highlight that area of their event. Where everything else might not be as luxury.
Gotcha.
But that significant part is we want to say significant tables or significant entrance or significant something about that client. We want to make sure that we capture that for them.
But how does that work with the brand, right? So your name is on that event.
Oh, absolutely.
So there's one signature piece, but everything else, what I dare say,
basic,
not up to luxury standards.
But it was still set apart, and the event will still be on that same high level.
Yeah.
Because one of the things we mainly want to make sure that our client is very happy when they walk in the room, be it corporate or weddings or whatever event it might be.
Got it.
Okay. And so one thing I want to ask before we close out and go into break, how did you know when it was time to grow a team? Because obviously it's not just you anymore.
When the phones start ringing, and when you have two phone lines and they're both ringing at the same time, and you're saying, hello, please hold, hello, please hold, and you're going to answer both lines. Yeah. We know in order to grow, you're going to have that support team. Okay. And with that support team, we do have a full staff of 3 people in-house and 10 part-time people. So we know that when we do that, it takes not only myself being the designer, but it helps everybody else as well as.
You're listening to Grindset, powered by the Kudzukian Network, and we're here with Olivia Bursey Ward. And when we get back from the break, we're going to dive deeper into the beginnings, right? What was the first year like for you, growing the company, and then probably dive a little bit deeper into the challenges, managing employees and things of that nature. You're listening to Grindset, powered by the Kudzukian Network, and we'll be right back.
The Chairman's Perspective.
Hi, this is Lee Eric Smith. Let's take a look inside Shelby County government as we unleash some of the views of our very own Chairman of the Shelby County Commission, Van Turner. The Chairman's Perspective on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Kudzukian.com, or your favorite podcast provider.
The Chairman's Perspective on the Kudzukian Network.
Welcome back to Grindset. We're here with Olivia Bursey Ward, founder and CEO of Studio 1524, and we're just talking about the business. But, what was you left corporate. What was the first full-time year of business like for you?
Oh my gosh, it was a challenge because in corporate life, everything is given, everything is pretty standard. But when you are working for yourself, you have to consider, gosh, what kind of health insurance am I going to have? How do I deal with that? That check is not coming every 1st and 15th of the month. So you've got to get out there and make those sales calls. And that's what we did. And then my lifelong, even to this day, my policy is pretty much the 50-50 rule. Whatever profit we make, 50% goes back to savings or to I would say now money market funds. However, and then now we use the other 50% to cover our overhead and produce and buy new business. And not only that, buy new product. So that has really sustained us over the last 15 to 20 years in starting this business. Having a master's degree has really helped as well. However, one of the things we want to do is make sure we stick to our basics, and that was one of the things we really did.
Now, you've been saying we since you mentioned 1998. Who's the we in this equation?
I would say we is generally it's me, but I do have support along with this whole business from start to finish. We have a lot of people that have helped us along the way to help us really strategically get us to where we are. I have to give those people a really just mentors in the whole business within from starting to finish to where we are there to now.
Got it.
And so we're shout out to those people.
Shout out to those people, whoever they may be.
And we'll keep them secret.
Okay. Now I want to jump back a moment. You just kind of threw out there really, really gently master's degree, right?
Master's degree, absolutely.
So like a lot of our listeners, I think we all wanted that traditional route. We went to college. We wanted that American dream.
Absolutely.
And I think what's so interesting, you went to Spelman College.
We went to Spelman College in Atlanta,
That's such
Georgia.
an elite college.
Shout out to Spelman.
Spelman College.
And you had a career in biology.
Absolutely.
So, how in the world do you go from a corporate career in biology to what you're doing now? Like, help those listeners understand that are listening in the cubicle, that are trying to figure out, well, I'm more passionate about this thing, but I'm comfortable here. I've been doing this 10, 15 years. How can you explain to them how to segue and transition?
Absolutely. I knew that I always loved the sciences. I knew I loved biology.
Yeah.
And then going to Spelman gave me that, as a liberal art college, gave me a wide range of abilities to do whatever I wanted to do.
Yeah.
However, right after college, I went into research.
Okay.
I worked with several companies, a famous known beverage company in Atlanta, I would say it. Coca-Cola.
Okay.
Worked there several years, and then it afforded me the opportunity to come here to be a manager at one of the facilities here in Memphis.
Okay.
Did that for several years, still had that earning for a little bit more other passions, but I knew that I needed to work the 9 to 5.
Got to pay bills.
Absolutely. Stayed at Coke for several years, went from there to other companies local in the city.
Okay.
But on my journey, I knew that there was a little bit of burning, a little bit of creativity there. And I did not want to just not suppress that.
Yeah.
And so hence,
a lot of us do.
Hence, I just kind of stepped out there. And I will say this, I stepped out there on faith.
Yeah.
And that's what really started me wanted to do something else like catering. And that's how I started. Being from Georgia, Columbus, Georgia, love to cook, love to entertain. And really those were the two main, I would say, foundation premises that got me started with this business.
So what kind of reception were you getting on your food where cooking and entertaining at home turned into, I need to start a catering business, right?
Well, absolutely. When you have a coworker say, hey, I'm getting married for the second time. I know you can do this. I've had your food. Right. Can you go ahead and cater this for me? And I'm
really?
like,
just from entertaining.
I'm like, are you? He said, I've been to your house several times. You can do this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I say, how many guests?
Yeah.
He said, oh, just 50. I said, 50? He said, you do 100 people at your house.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, fine. So I did one coworker. I turned into two coworkers, turned into referrals, turned into friends.
Get out.
Turned into this is how I am.
Yeah.
And that started the catering business.
And so the customer really dragged you in the business.
Absolutely. It was not something that I was just doing it for pleasure and for fun and not for profit. Yeah. But it ended up being profitable.
So what was the transition, right? How's it different? And the answer should be clear, but doing it for fun and doing it for profit, did you lose any of the joy in those 5 or 6 years?
Did not, because it was still entertaining and it was still seeing the pleasure of my client's face. And then what's even better is seeing the referrals I got from that.
Yeah.
So once I got the referrals, that it just ended up being one of the great things.
So you're listening to Grindset, powered by the Kudzukian Network. I love that you're sharing your story and how you transition from corporate to owning your own business. One thing I want to help listeners understand, too, is that this naturally happened. I think a lot of people feel like, okay, I have to write out this business plan. I have to have this much money in my savings. They want everything to be perfect. And I'd love for you to touch on that a little bit more. It doesn't have to be perfect. If the passion is there, if the clients are there, sometimes you have to jump into it.
You have to. It's not something written in stone.
Right.
We all say, well, we have to have that business plan, take it to the bank and get that capital.
Yeah.
That's not always the case.
Okay.
Most time it is passion.
Yeah.
And if you have passion is what's going to turn into profits.
Okay.
And profits going to turn into consistent and more clients.
Major key alert. Passions turn into profits.
Absolutely.
And you're living proof of that, right?
I am living proof of all these years.
That's awesome. And so speaking of profits, is your company profitable? And how does event planning and floral design and catering make money?
Passion and profit. Yes, it is. We all three of the companies can work individually.
Yep.
Okay.
Or they can work collectively together.
Okay.
It all depends on what the client needs are. We like to have them work all together so that we can provide an inclusive in service
Of course.
for them. And we can design it from the catering side of it to providing beautiful florals and rentals, all in one event so that they can enjoy it and know that they're going to a single source versus multiple sources, and we can able to provide them a better service.
Yeah. So how did you fund your business in the beginning, and how are you funding your business today?
Just kind of a little quick history.
Okay.
When I decided to do this full time, from 98 to 2003, I knew there was a goal, and the end goal was to make sure, one, I was debt free. So it took a little time to get rid of all the credit card debt, the car debt, and absolutely save money.
Okay.
So my spending was very, very minimum. Very minimal.
Wow.
That's discipline.
You took the word out of my mouth. Discipline.
So it is discipline. It's not the extra meals. It's not the whining and dining out. It's like, okay,
no luxury.
We're cooking at home. Okay.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
luxury.
Yeah.
And when I got to that point where I knew that it was time for me to leave, because I was working corporate, my catering business started to be very overwhelming.
Okay.
So I was actually meeting myself from weekend to weekday, and I knew at that point it was time to make a decision to step out there. And basically I did step out there on faith
Yeah.
and say, hey, this is what and this is how it happens. For me, it did.
And one thing I guess I have privy to a little bit of information because we're both in the event planning space. I'm more so the planner. I'm the logistics. You're the design, and you make things all luxurious and beautiful. But we've had a conversation where you told me you started meeting clients in your home. Okay. I think a lot of people, once again, they have these expectations. I got to have the perfect office in this part of town. It has to look this kind of way. Talk about what it was like having people come to your home and how that really benefited.
Absolutely. We started out there. Most people want the nice brick and mortar, the nice plush white carpet. Well, we met our clients in my dining room.
Yeah. Wow.
We cleared it off. We made it our office.
Okay.
And we did that for several years. Although we had an off-site kitchen where we provided all the food and everything, a commercial kitchen that we rented.
However, kicking in the kitchen too.
However, we met our clients there, and we did our tastings at our commercial kitchen.
Yeah. Nice.
And once we grew out of that space, we determined at that time we rented another spot here in Midtown.
Okay.
On Cooper.
Oh.
We actually shared our house with someone else.
Okay.
We did that for 3 or 4 years, and at that time we kind of outgrew that space.
Okay.
There, we moved to a bigger space on Madison, hence 1524 Madison. And as the growth continued, we knew that as we added entities to our business, we continued to grow. So currently, right now, we're at a design warehouse center that's even 16,000 square feet that we're able to encapsulate all of our rentals, all of our catering, commercial kitchen, and along with our design center when our clients come in.
Now, it sounds like you're doing well today, but when you took that leap of faith in year one, how much did you make? And
gosh, we didn't make anything. Honestly, we did not make anything. My goal was to make sure that we did have a roof over our head, which I did.
Awesome.
We had the lights on.
Yeah.
And basically it. All the first year was basically no profit, but we were able to maintain.
Okay.
And then that's when we started saying, okay, we need to do this, and we figured it out, and we can create our plan. So the next couple of years was much better.
Yeah.
We started seeing a profit in about 2.5 years. And at that point, we were able to hire, and basically we contract out of our staff work.
Wow.
Instead of us paying for it, we contract that out.
So what was that first year like emotionally, right? You was like, I decided to do this full time, and then we didn't make any money. But you did double down, and
Absolutely.
you made it. So what was that
it's
like emotionally?
Playing blackjack.
Yeah.
It's like playing blackjack.
Don't tell me that.
You know, sometimes you get 21, and sometimes you get bust. But my goal had always been to make sure that we actually satisfied our clients and continues. Well, if we get this one client, we able to get another client, and a lot of it was referral. Referral business was part of it, along with advertising. Yep. And when we saw advertising was most expensive, we decided to let's go back to referral business
and social media.
And social media.
I would imagine that helped.
Absolutely. So when we stopped advertising, that was a little scary. However, the referrals kicked in, and we really, really appreciated that.
And you say in year 2, year 3, you kind of figured it out.
Absolutely.
What does that actually mean, right? How did you figure it out?
I think once we, as I said earlier, we got our master's degree from at that time Memphis State.
Yeah.
Some of those principles starting to kick in, and we decided. And one of the things that we relied on, we did a Stephen Covey class, 7 principles. And 2 of the principles that really stuck with us was begin with the end in mind. And the second one is sharpen the saw. And basically sharpen the saw is continuously educate yourself.
Major key.
And so we look for seminars, training to make sure what our profit margin was in education be on the business side and the financial side.
Right.
And that was the 2 principles that we, to this day, we still stick to.
And the last question for me, because I've just been drilling you, right? So how do you go from being great at cooking and entertaining, right, to being good at business?
It's a skill set. It's truly a skill set. You have to know your business on all entities. That's financially, and that's how we basically maintain our business today. Without our accountant telling me yes and no on things I can and cannot buy, has helped me out a tremendous. Because when we started out, we were the cook.
Yeah.
We was the server, we were the financial planner, we were everything. But once as you grow and learn, Those are things we relied on.
Wow. I mean, you're wearing a lot of hats, Olivia.
Absolutely.
Can you tell us a little bit about work-life balance? How do you make it all work?
In the beginning, it was extremely hard because you're the cook, you're the cleanup person, you're the finance person, you're the check writer, you're everything. Until you learn work-life balance. It is hard. Not at one time can you give 100. In the beginning, I could not give. I told at the time when I was dating in early marriage, I told my husband I could not give you 100% because I was building a brand.
Wow.
And that brand was everything to me.
Right.
Sometimes you got a house you have to take care of. We don't have kids. However, I had to learn what was important to me. And prioritize it. You have to prioritize it because you can lose yourself in this whole world of business, and you have to be able to cut it off and find relaxation time or find time for you. For me, it's reading. And reading and just inspirational reading. Recently, we just went visit Michelle Obama, and that was the most inspirational. And even to this day, we went back and just kind of looked at her book, and a lot of that was confirmation.
And I think we learned from Michelle Obama that we thought she had this cookie cutter life, but she had her challenges as well. So we all deal with it.
In the business, there are challenges.
Yes. Well, this has been just such an amazing interview. When we come back from the break, we're going to talk a little bit about where Studio 1524 is headed.
Absolutely. Exciting. Can't wait to share with you.
You're listening to Grindset, powered by the Kudzukian Network.
R&R on Sports is proud to be on Sirius XM.
So what's R&R stand for?
Real talk and relevant sports issues.
It's racial and relative. We're brothers from the South. We can relate.
R&R on Sports on the Kudzukian Network.
Welcome back to Grindset. We're here with Olivia Bursey Ward, and this segment is all about the future, right? Do you see yourself growing other segments of your business in addition to catering, flower and design, and rentals?
I think right now we are at a point where we are still developing the rental section because, and the reason being, there is so many different avenues of the rentals that we try to touch on. And one of the good things about now, we travel. So we travel to other cities with our rentals, from Dallas to Little Rock to Atlanta to Columbus, Georgia. So we are out there at studio1524salon.com. Actually,
nice
drop. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Little plug.
So actually, we are bringing new products into our company that we share the information through our website and our social media.
So how do you know it's time to drop a new product, right? Is it customer demand or is it you looking at trends?
I'm looking at trends. I'm looking at magazines. Before I said I was a magazine junkie. So I'd look at other trends in other cities, what they're doing, and actually trying to bring it to our city as well.
And one thing, again, I love about you, and we really didn't dive deep into it, but you have 16,000 square feet of inventory.
Absolutely.
There's no other woman in the city of Memphis that does that. So number one, kudos, hats off to you.
Thank you.
And how do you find yourself competitive in such an industry that's saturated by majority men that have these type of spaces?
I think the difference about us is that we have a passion and we're driven by passion. And our brand is driven by passion. One of the things about us that's pretty unique and very transparent, on our website, you'll see all the different variety of products that we have. No other local company has that out there. And we wanted to be transparent. And the reason being, if you are a person that is in need of rentals and you're working at home or on your internet or looking at or your computer or your phone, you can easily pull us up and see the product and not have to wait and call. You can put your product together online right then and there. You can order it right then and there. You can put it in a cart. You can design it yourself. We wanted to make it so easy, not only for us to use it, but for our clients to use it. So if they have a call, they can call us in. But however, we wanted to make it user-friendly for them.
And it's part of the experience.
It is the experience.
Right. Because you can't do that with other rental companies.
Absolutely, you can't.
I love that. And then as we think about the future, tell us about where you see your company in the next 5 to 10 years.
We want to be in the small cities, the small towns that don't have the rental companies that have a need for it.
That's surprising.
And we're talking about the cities of Greenwood, Mississippi.
Oh, hometown.
Oh my goodness!
You must be listening to the podcast.
That don't have opportunities, or I would say limited resources for that.
Okay.
Other cities in between here and Jackson, Mississippi.
Okay.
Between here and Nashville, even though we know Nashville's a big market, but you have to get between here and Nashville. So we're saying, Jackson, Tennessee, what can we do for you? Places like Jonesboro, Arkansas. Places like that we want to tap in and provide those services as well.
That strategy worked for Walmart, and I'm hoping it works for you.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Small town business always.
And that's actually what I was about to say, that I found that surprising, but it's also the big fish in a small pond mentality.
Absolutely.
You're going to thrive more in the smaller city than trying to go to New York, D.C., try to be competitive.
We will bring New York to you.
I love that. That's a great business model. That's a lesson. That's a major key in itself.
That's a major key alert.
And tell us a little bit about the advice you've gotten over the years. Again, there's been a lot of challenges, and I'm sure you have mentors that help you. Share with our listeners just some nuggets.
One of the first thing you need to do is make sure you are watching your finances. Your finances is the one that can get out of control. If you are not spending and watching the bottom line, and make sure you're the one that signs the checks. Because without signing the checks, you're not sure what's coming in and what's going out, even though you have accountants, financial planners, all of that. They're going to give you advice. But when it comes down to the end, you need to make sure your lights are on and you're able to pay your people. Without those two things, your company's not going to survive, because without electricity, you're not getting a phone call that says, hello, this is Olivia. How can we help you? So that's our major entity, a part of our business, and wanted to make sure that you are aware of those financial plans and things like that.
Okay. Another thing I think I'm privy to that I have to bring up so our listeners can understand in terms of the branding space. When you give out a business card, it does not have your name on it. Can you explain why that is?
Years ago, we never put our name on our company business card. And the reason being is that whoever picks up that telephone and answer on the other side, they should be able to sell the company just like the owner, myself.
Okay.
And so when you do that, we have never from day one put it on any of our business cards, on the catering side, Delectables Catering Company, Studio 1524, or the salon. Because when you pick up that phone and when we answer, it's going to be a warm voice. And we want to make sure that if it's anybody in our office, they can sell the business just like I can.
Everybody takes ownership into the business.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
So before we close, tell listeners how to get more information about Studio 1524.
Absolutely. Please follow us on social media at Studio 1524 Salon. We are on Instagram at Studio 1524, both of those, and Facebook as well. And please follow us on Snapchat.
Okay, Snapchat.
Absolutely.
I love it. I'm not even on Snapchat. I need to step my game up.
Absolutely.
What about a website?
Our website is Studio 1524. Very easy.
Consistent
tagline.
branding.
Consistent branding across the board.
Absolutely. Hashtag Studio 1524. Along with DelectablesCateringCompany.com. That is our catering company. And the rentals, which is always the powerful one, is Studio 1524 Salon.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
We thoroughly enjoyed you. Anything for you, Cynthia?
I'm just over here in awe. I mean, I know a little bit of your story, but today I just respect you so much more. Thank you for being transparent with our listeners. Thank you for sharing with women that it's never too late to change your career, that you can start over and do what you're really passionate about.
It is never too late.
Thank
you for having me. It's been my honor.
Yeah.
And I am grateful and more or less pleasurable to be with both of you guys.
Thank you.
You're listening to Grindset, powered by the Kudzukian Network, and we'll be right back.
I like the way he said funking around.
Yeah,
that's what they're doing.
I did like that, but he said the old.
I'm gonna start using it.
He said the old electorate is funky.
Well, basically, it's what he's saying. He's saying that
midterm elections funking around,
and that's true
with our future.
Because it's noted. And I think you're absolutely
don't let
midterm elections.
Don't let them funk up the future.
Oh my God!
On the Kudzukian Network.
Welcome back. Listen, Olivia just pulled out everything I like about this Grindset show, right? We got to learn about an event, floral, and design business, how she grew it from catering to flower and design to equipment rental, and where she wants to take it. And throughout her journey, I took out some major keys. The first one is get your finances in order. For Olivia, that meant paying down debt and having a great credit score. But at a minimum, make sure your credit is to a point where it can support starting a business. 2, if you want to grow, don't just have an idea and grow it, although you can do that, but listen to your customers and go where the demand takes you. 3, watch your finances. You need to pay attention to the money that's going in and out of your business, and then that can inform as well how you grow. 4, take personal time. Like, you can work yourself into stress and tired and burn yourself out of the business. So take time to kind of replenish and get yourself going for the next day or the next big idea. And lastly, continue to sharpen the saw. That may mean reading about your industry. That may mean attending events. That might mean associations and talking to other professionals, but definitely sharpen the saw and get better every day at what you do.
And I definitely think that was my favorite major key about sharpening the saw. And I'm just still on a high. Like, that was such an incredible interview with Olivia. So I decided to find a quote by Michelle Obama because Olivia said she was inspired by her. And the quote says, "Success is only meaningful and enjoyable if it feels like your own." And so when I think about Olivia's story, you know, coming from a corporate background and launching her passion, you know, figuring out that she enjoyed catering, enjoyed luxury items and being able to rent to people, she could have easily stayed in that comfortable space of being in that corporate world, getting those paychecks, but she really wasn't passionate about what she was doing. So I'm hoping that our listeners out there are going to be inspired by this quote, inspired by Olivia, and really decide to do what they want to do.
It's a wonderful quote. I want some success of my own as well.
You can get a little bit of this.
No, but seriously, Olivia was great, and I hope you learned as much as we did on this show. You've been listening to Grindset, powered by the Kudzukian Network, and we'll see you next episode.
Grindset, executive producer Epicenter, recorded at Kudzukian Studios. Grindset is directed, produced, recorded, and distributed by Kudzukian.